Hello, everybody. You've tuned in to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. And I'm Sergeant Rich Myers, your host from District 52 Public Information Office. I have with me today Stan Capobianco from the he's with the State Fire Marshal's Office. He's a hazardous materials specialist with the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. And Stan was here with me last week, and we had so much material because Stan has never been here that we have asked him back again this week to participate with us and tell us a little bit more about the State Fire Marshal's Office. And we're going to dive right in, so hopefully we'll won't run out of time this time with Stan. But Stan, last week we were kind of overview of what the State Fire Marshal's Office does and how it works. You're almost 40-year member of the fire service, either with your Terre Haute district, from where you retired as a captain with Terre Haute Fire Department, and now almost 7 years with the State Fire Marshal's Office. If you're what exactly do you do if you're called to a scene? If the fire marshal's office is called in, do you talk with the fire department there? Do you talk with the police agency there? With both of them? How does that work?
Well, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to approach the incident commander, and I'm going to find out who actually called for me and what type of assistance they would like me to perform. Based upon my experience, there's a lot of things that I can provide them. If they just need someone else's viewpoint on how they're handling this situation, then I can give that to them. If they need me to do analytical testing of material, then we can work in that fashion. It's determined by the incident itself. It's, there's no, I can't really say it's a textbook.
Yeah, right.
It's like law enforcement. If you go out on a call, nothing's ever the same.
But you could get a call from anything from a chlorine spill at a local pool, public pool, to a nuclear reactor somewhere, possibly having trouble with that, or a train crash that spills something out of it that's hazardous. So each one of these are going to be different, and each one of those is approached differently, I'm sure. Do you give the local EMA, are they also trained in hazardous materials also, or is that not so much?
Well, according to OSHA 1910-120, everyone who is going to be a responder in the state of Indiana needs to be trained to the operations level. That means if they're going to get close to the incident, they need to be trained to an operations level.
And that's what we're trained in as a bomb squad for the state of Indiana.
And up to technician level for the downrange folks. But for anyone that's going to get close, it needs to be operations. So yes, but most of them are trained in the awareness, and they understand what a hazardous material incident is. Now, understand that hazmat has been around a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, a long time. And there's been a lot of names. Right now, the name is CBRNE. It's chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive. And if you look at each one of those components, it's some form of hazardous material through the Department of Transportation or at affixed facilities. So any of those components, the hazmat division of the State Fire Marshal has the ability to identify and provide field testing for.
What's some of that field testing you do? Do you have specialized equipment on your truck that you can actually test the hazardous materials there?
Yes. Because a lot of I think we said in the last time we were together, the largest number of the fire departments and the responders in our state are volunteer. So they may not have that asset. So what I may be able to do is real-time air monitoring or real-time radioactive, a rad isotope monitoring. Sometimes we do that with security sweeps. We can also do field testing of white powders, liquids, and solids. So we have a tremendous ability with our technical equipment in our trucks.
And more times than not, what you help us out with is to say, not what that gas is or what it's not. You can say maybe it's not this, it's not that, it's nothing to be concerned about.
Well, what we'll do is we'll classify it for you. It's either an acid, a base, a flammable liquid, or it's a substance that we believe that's not going to cause anyone any harm.
Yeah.
But if it's something that we feel that is going to cause harm, we will package that up and send it to a lab for definitive testing, because all our instruments are designed for field testing.
Correct.
But we look at everything like you folks do. We look at, is it a credible threat?
Right.
What are we actually looking at? And we try to gather a lot of that information, or I do, before we will actually put anything down to test it.
Now, one of the things that you hit on the last show that I wasn't too much aware about, or didn't know there was probably a lot of call for that in the state of Indiana, was explosive magazine inspections, and you're responsible for that also.
That's correct. In the southwestern part of the state of Indiana, we have a huge number of explosive magazines, and also anybody that's doing 1.3G explosive for fireworks, the large diameter
Right.
shows. They have to have a magazine. It's a container that's specifically built to hold that product. And the ATF and the State Fire Marshal, we regulate those, and we look at those very closely. It's a way we track them. So, yes, it's very important that people be aware of that.
And that part of that inspection is done monthly, yearly?
Annually.
Annually.
Yes.
Done.
And it can also be at a surprise inspection if we get a complaint.
Okay. And that's, again, for their benefit, for prevention of theft, to make sure that they're in compliance and don't have too much explosive in there that's not going to have that weight amount for that particular magazine. And I'm sure that they're happy to see you come in to make sure that they're in compliance.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Well, again, you're listening to the State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. I'm Sergeant Rich Myers, your host from District 52, and I'm with the Hazardous Materials Specialist for the State Fire Marshal's Office, Stan Capabianco, and we're talking about the fire service here in the state of Indiana, the Fire Marshal's Office. That is a division of the Indiana Department of Homeland Security. And one of the things we hit on last week that we want to make sure that people are still aware of, that this is Fire Prevention Month.
That's correct.
Fire Marshal's Office is pushing that forward, I know, and they want that out there, that make sure those fire detectors are well in hand. And something we didn't hit on the last time, but I'm sure you probably recommend too, is a fire extinguisher, working fire extinguisher in the home.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Please have a fire extinguisher, an escape plan, and a working smoke detector. That's for your own safety.
What's the difference in a fire extinguisher? I know there's A, B, C, D. What's those difference that people should be aware of to have one for their home?
Well, A is for Class A. It's for basically wood and paper. A B is for usually oils, and a C is for electrical. Most of the general public, we can use an AB or a BC extinguisher, but we just recommend that you have some form of extinguisher, because most of the fires are going to occur in the kitchen, so a BC extinguisher would be very adequate.
Yeah, and if it's an oil fire, don't throw it in the sink. Don't take it off the stove.
No.
Cover that up will do mostly, won't it?
Yeah, we would like you to, but if there's a potential for you to be injured, no, we want you to try basically make the call to the local fire department and get everybody out.
Get that 911 call going and get somebody there to help out.
That's right. Most things can be replaced in your life except you.
Exactly. Well, again, we're speaking with Stan Capabianco from the State Fire Marshal's Office and Hazardous Materials Specialist. If you're called in to a scene, do you require any special stuff that you have to have yourself, or are you pretty much all self-contained?
Well, we're self-efficient. We carry our own personal protective equipment. We also have the ability to provide some additional protective equipment to some of the teams that we might respond with. For example, if we respond with the state police EOD,
right.
If they need specialized things to go downrange, we'll find that for them. If I don't carry it on my truck, I'll contact a local hazmat team in the area. The nice thing about what our division does is that we have the ability to make contact with every one of the hazmat teams in the state of Indiana, and we also know what they carry.
Okay.
Because about 2 years ago, we did a typing system, and that allowed us to understand their capabilities. And so when we saw deficiencies in those capabilities, that's when we started to look at purchasing equipment and taking the training to fill those deficiencies.
And are those placed throughout Indiana as strategic locations?
The hazmat teams?
Correct.
They are to a degree, but it's really based upon if the local fire department or the community can support one.
Okay.
The heaviest population of hazmat teams is in the northern part of the state, and then as you get south, it's more agricultural, so you don't see as large a number. And that's where most of our volunteer fire departments are located too, is in the agricultural areas.
How much training is required to stay up on board as a hazmat team? Is there a certain amount of hours that they have to do a month, a year, or how does that work?
Well, on a minimum is 80 hours just to become a technician, but prior to that, you have to have awareness and ops. So, you're looking at, easily at 120 hours of initial training, and then we would love to see people do at least 40 hours minimum training per year as a hazmat team per member, if at all possible. OSHA says it's only required to have 8 hours, but that's not a proficient team if you only just do the 8 hours per year.
Yeah. And does the State Fire Marshal's office give any of that training, or is that provided, or are they do that on themselves?
Well, most departments will do it on themselves, but we will provide that training, or we'll find someone that can provide that training for them. I understand there's only 3 of us in the state with 92 counties, and so we get stretched pretty thin, but we'll do whatever we can to help out the locals.
Do you provide, if somebody has a possible criminal activity with hazmat also, do you provide the expertise to that police agency if you're called in? Can you help them out with that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, that's something that we've been working very diligently to get out, let that message be heard, is because law enforcement for many years has been basically the last ones to have the proper protective equipment and the tools to identify flammable liquids, flammable gases, and corrosives, and that unknown product.
Right.
And as I said many times, is that this is expensive business. These instruments are not cheap at all.
And to maintain them is expensive.
Absolutely. So to keep. So we want the locals to know that we'll be out there to assist them in whatever they need, and especially law enforcement or EMS. And fix facilities. I've worked many times with the federal prison on some of their cases, and it's basically trying to identify something that they've never seen before.
And it's basically to get the word out that you're available. A lot of times people don't know that the law enforcement agencies, the other agencies available, that you're available with this equipment, can show up 24/7 to help them out.
That's correct, yes.
I know a lot of times with the bomb squad, you've helped us out tremendously with the IR machine. Talk a little bit about it. Well,
the IR is infrared spectrometry, and we have that technology has been around a long time. And what it does is it allows us to look at things kind of like on a molecular level. That's how I talk about it. It's a little more in depth than that, but it gives us a probability scoring of what we're looking at. So then it matches it up to a database in our computer, and then we base that upon our detective work. Is it a credible threat? What has been going on prior to us testing this material? And then we come to a conclusion, a field test, and we give you that answer. And as law enforcement, you make the final decision. That's something also I wanted to stress, is that if I'm requested, or any of us are requested, when we come in, we are there to assist. We will not take over your scene. And a lot of people in the old days used to be concerned about that, but we're there really just to give you an answer.
Yeah.
To help you make proper decisions.
And you're going to give them all kinds of materials to do that with. Your books and your computers and things that you have, even can help people out on a safety zone in whatever you're working on.
That's correct. We can help do site safety plans. We can be safety officers. And also, we're not looking at the incident as like the first responder will be doing. We look at it as one of my former bosses used to say, to 50,000 foot level.
Yeah.
We get way up there. We're looking at everything and trying to put that package together for you to say, well, have you thought of this? Because I think if you go down that road, you're going to get here, and you don't want to be there.
Well, again, it's been Stan Capabianco with the State Fire Marshal's Office. We've run out of time for our second show. Stan, thanks again for coming in. I appreciate you being here.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for inviting me.
All right. You've been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. I've been your host, Sergeant Rich Myers from the District 52 Public Information Office. Thank you for listening again. We've had a great 2 weeks here with Stan. I appreciate you coming in and talking about the State Fire Marshal's office. Make sure you keep buckled up and keep those kids in a car seat. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.